All right. This is a guy named Joshua Haymes. Reformation Red Pill is the name of his podcast. Just let me introduce you to him. Just listen to what he has to say here.
The institution of slavery is not inherently evil. I know. Some of you guys are upset by that. Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years.
He's a Christian nationalist. And what's more, he knows Pete Hegseth. He had him on his show. And he says slavery is not bad.
Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being. I know. Just wait. Some of you guys are really upset, but let's talk through this because it is very important that every Christian affirm what I just said. And not only should they affirm it, every Christian in today's society should be able to defend what I just said. Okay? Every Christian.
And the bottom line with his argument is the Bible talks about slavery being a good thing, and he supports that. That's the argument. That is insane. This dude is absolutely off his rocker.
Should be able to defend it. Big evangelicalism has been getting this wrong for years, basically since the Genesis, since the advent of Big Eva. They haven't had a good answer for the slavery issue. All right, Christians in America have been led astray on this topic. They've been led to believe things that the Bible doesn't teach. And when we go beyond the Bible, there are dire consequences.
When we go beyond the Bible, which is to say eliminate slavery, there are dire consequences. Insane.
So what happens when someone enslaves him and treats him terribly, monstrously?
He'll never be enslaved, of course, because he's white, and white people aren't enslaved, you see.
Because he's white and a Christian and whatever else.
Disgusting. This is Pete Hegseth showing up and talking to this guy on his podcast about Christian nationalism.
These are lost institutions. We need to start our own.
We've got to start our... I wonder, this is what I wonder, though, is if we did this, if we recaptured K through 12 education and actually educated our children to fear and love the Lord as Christians, applying all of Christ to all of subjects and all of life, if the natural outflow of that would be in 2 generations recapturing the institutions that, because that's the thing that's so frustrating is Christians built these institutions.
Yes.
And then we
No, they didn't.
abandoned them. You know?
I mean, we spend a portion of the book or in the series explaining the origins of Harvard and Princeton and all these institutions founded by ministers.
Okay, I don't know if they were founded by ministers. And also, Pete Hegseth is part of the government. As a government agent, he was talking about rebuilding the government in the image of Christian nationalists. Harvard and other universities are in a gray area. They're not private institutions, but they're not public institutions. They're tax-exempt institutions. And anything related to society that all of society uses and needs shouldn't have a religious purpose like that. Because everybody in society needs access to this stuff. Muslims, atheists, and Christians alike. And for the record, Christians did not create these institutions, these government agencies, the FBI, the US government generally. People who were Christian created them. There is a significant difference. These people are straight up disturbing, though. I mean, to say we need to rebuild these institutions in the eyes of Christianity, and also to say we should own slaves, that's too much, dude. Seriously. Listen to this one. This is regarding the Charlie Kirk attack.
The off-ramp is total defeat of leftist liberal ideology. That's the only off-ramp.
That's how we fix society, quote unquote, is to destroy the left.
You just cannot, I'm sorry.
This is at the moment, this is so early on in the Charlie Kirk thing that they believed the right was spreading the idea with absolutely no evidence that the person who killed Charlie Kirk was a left-wing radical who did it for left-wing radical reasons. We now know that the person did it for nihilistic reasons. This is a nihilistic extremist, which means they don't believe anything matters at all, and they wanted to get their name in history. They wanted to put their name down in history because that's the only thing that they could think that would mean anything at all in history. It was a nihilistic extremist attack, according to the FBI. Kash Patel's FBI.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
We have like the divisions are too deep. Whenever you're arguing about whether or not you can mutilate children,
Nobody is arguing that. Nobody ever argued that. This is delusion.
you're arguing about whether or not it's okay to end the lives of 60 million babies in the womb. I'm sorry, there's no middle ground there.
No, there is a middle ground. You know what the middle ground is? We all live our own lives and do our own thing. And what doesn't affect you personally, you stay out of. And what doesn't affect me personally, I stay out of. That's the middle ground. That's what I'm trying to get to. But in his delusional brain, that is far left ideology. This is the problem with Christian nationalism. They don't just want to let people live their lives and mind their own business. They want to impose it on you. And if you aren't allowing them to impose it on you, then you are the problem. It's twisting and distorting how a society should run. This is fascism. This is the definition this is the difference between fascism and authoritarianism. Think about it this way. In an authoritarian regime, say Stalin was not a fascist. Stalin was an authoritarian. He controlled things with an iron grip, and he persecuted people for political reasons. But if you just lived your life and didn't criticize the government, but just did your thing, you were probably going to be okay. You're probably going to be safe from it. But this is fascism, where even if you aren't like sticking your nose in and trying to change what they're up to or whatever, they're still going to try to impose their will on you because they can't be satisfied with just existing and living their lives and doing their thing independently. They have to control you, everything.
There just isn't. It's Christ or chaos.
They're trying to impose their will. Here's another clip from this dude.
Our founding fathers are rolling over in their graves to hear someone like, whenever they were thinking freedom of religion, they did not have in view Satan being worshipped in our state. They didn't have in view.
Wait, Satan being worshipped what?
In our state. They didn't have in view mosques being erected. They enviewed
They literally envisioned freedom of religion. That's what it means. People doing whatever they want in their own personal lives and government being agnostic to that. But again, he cannot deal with people just living their lives and doing their thing independently of him or their beliefs.
They weren't even Christian. Like half of the founding fathers were not Christians.
And Thomas Jefferson, one of the most notable founding fathers who assisted in the creation of the Constitution, was smeared as an atheist during his whole, his run for president. And, maybe he was. He said that he was a deist. He even wrote the Jefferson Bible. Are you aware of this?
I didn't know he wrote the Jefferson Bible.
He didn't really write it, but it was basically the New Testament he took a razor blade and cut out all the magical stuff. And he was left with just the teachings of Jesus, the moral teachings of Jesus. Love your neighbor as yourself and all that other, decent, good stuff. Love the people, love the immigrants around you, things like that. The Jefferson Bible. And these people are rewriting history to be something that it absolutely wasn't. Here's another clip from this dude. I mean, this guy is like deeply disturbing. I don't know if you guys remember this, but a while back, there was a guy named Michael Cassidy. The Iowa State Capitol decided to host a religious day or whatever, with a bunch of religious symbols in the main area. So naturally, the Iowa State Satanic Temple sets up a Baphomet statue because government cannot favor one religion over another. If you're making it available to Christians, you must make it available to Satanists as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they set up this Baphomet statue, and this guy named Michael Cassidy comes in and takes like a weapon and beheads the statue because he thinks it had some kind of satanic, blah, 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 some kind of black magic, blah, 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 And we'll listen to this in a second, but listen to this dude's reaction. I mean, this is a clear as day example of state allowing religion in, and this guy trying to tilt the scales in favor of one religion in government instead of allowing everybody to just live their lives freely and have freedom of religion.
A satanic statue had been erected in the Iowa State Capitol And while other Christians were racing to their keyboards to write strongly worded condemnations of satanic statues being erected and honored in state capitals.
Dude, are his lips blue? What is going on here? Did he eat a blue raspberry slushy a minute ago or something?
Maybe he's cold.
State capitals in our once great Christian nation. While all the other Christians were racing to their keyboards, Michael Cassidy was racing to the Iowa State Capitol to behead Baphomet. I am convinced that we need 10,000 more Michael Cassidys and Caleb Byrds.
He's saying he wants violence. He wants violence. He wants to solve his problems violently. This is fascism. This isn't authoritarianism. This is fascism.
He looks like he's wearing like a Halloween costume of a zombie or something.
Yes, he does. What?
We need men of action.
Oh, is that the end? Anyway, let's just watch this story because there's this woman in this story. I remember this. This was from 2023. No. Yeah, 2023. This was mid-December 2023.
A Satanic Temple has set up a display inside the Iowa State House.
This is Inside Edition playing creepy music over it. What is wrong with you, Inside Edition? Really?
It's the holiday season, and even secular government buildings display decorations for holidays that are rooted in religion, like Christmas trees and menorahs.
Christmas trees aren't rooted in religion. Menorahs are, but not even really menorahs, because it's more of a historical, a cultural story that's told about how during the Maccabean War, the Jewish people in Jerusalem were fighting a rebellion and took over one of their key buildings and didn't have enough oil to power the lamps through the rest of the time they needed it. And, they were suffering because they succeeded in doing what they wanted, retaking the Capitol building or whatever, but they couldn't keep it going long enough, and God protected them by keeping it going. It's more of a cultural story than a religious story exactly. But somebody comes in with a nativity scene or a cross, Jesus or whatever other thing, that's a religious symbol, and it opens it up to other religious symbols being allowed in, which is what happened. Nobody has a problem with Christmas trees being on the Capitol lawn or whatever.
For 14 days, the Satanic Temple has erected a display alongside these major religious symbols inside the rotunda of the Iowa State Capitol. Lucian Greaves, co-founder of the Satanic Temple, spoke to KCCI.
We're connected to Lucian Greaves. Yeah, we know somebody that directly knows him.
We're going to really relish the opportunity to be...
That's him right there. His real name isn't Lucian, obviously, but...
opportunity to be represented in a public forum. We don't have a church on every street corner.
Though the temple went through the correct administrative channels to present in the rotunda, the display is getting pushback.
One, I hope people realize spiritual warfare is real.
Oh, give it a rest, lady, please.
That there are evil, satanic forces that are trying to infiltrate our state.
Iowa resident...
Yeah, in your opinion, that's like me complaining that you have the Christian stuff on because spiritual whatever is real, and there are Christian forces trying to go against what I believe in. It's the exact same thing. I said the exact same thing as her, but now I'm wrong because Christianity is objectively right, which it's not.
This is why we don't involve religion in government. This is why we keep it separate. I will live my life over here and you live your life over there, and government will provide the resources that we all need and use, like the roads, like the post office. We don't need to get your religion or mine mixed all in this scenario. They don't seem to understand, these nutcases, that we just want to be left alone and do our thing. Sign up for my Patreon. I'd really appreciate that very much. It would mean so much to me. This is a really precarious moment in history, in U.S. history, and for me personally, so it would mean a lot if you sign up for my Patreon. Check out cultarchive.org. I did a cult test, basically, where you can see if you're in a cult, and you can look at the historical tests of other groups that already went through this. Also, check out my merch. I have a whole bunch of really cool shirts and stuff. Really interesting. I would really appreciate that.
Kelly Flockhart said she was shocked to see the altar at the Capitol, so
Well, I was shocked to see the cross at the Capitol. How about that?
She was shocked to see the altar at the Capitol, so she organized a group to pray near the rotunda's Christmas tree.
Oh, thank Jehovah God that she's there, making sure that there's prayer going on 24/7. Jehovah will protect us.
At least their altar looks cool.
It does.
Everything else is just boring.
Greaves says no one is being forced to interact with the Satanic Temple's display.
My feeling is that if people don't like our displays in public forums, they don't have to engage with them. They don't have to view them.
It's a very dark, evil force.
Yeah, obviously, that's exactly what Christians say when people don't like the fact that, the state capitol has a gigantic cross display.
Someone said we should read the Satanic Bible on stream one day.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not
cool.
really a huge fan of the Satanic Bible generally because it had some weird magical stuff in it. It was written, I believe, by Anton LaVey.
I've never seen or read it.
Are you familiar with its origins?
No, I'm not familiar with anything satanic related.
I believe that Anton LaVey wrote it, and it was supposed to be the antithesis of the Bible, where the Bible says, turn the other cheek if somebody harms you. This says, warn the person, and if they don't stop, absolutely destroy them.
To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it has some interesting points, but I don't think, there's so much moral ambiguity and confusion in the Bible that basing anything off of the Bible, even as its antithesis, leads to moral ambiguity and confusion as well. But, I really do like the Satanic Temple, which is different from the Church of Satan, which was created by Anton LaVey. I like the Satanic Temple's tenets, led by Lucian Greaves, who is pretty cool, who we saw just a second ago.
Yeah.
Here you go. The 7 fundamental tenets. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. That's bodily autonomy. The freedom of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego your own. Beliefs should conform to our best scientific understanding of the world. We should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit our beliefs. People are fallible. If we make a mistake, we should do our best to rectify it and resolve any harm that may have been caused. And finally, every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. And I believe that the Satanic Temple, though it is a recognized religion, pays taxes.
Interesting.
Uniquely. Not because they have to, but because they want to,
Yeah.
last I checked. So the point is that the Satanic Temple is actually top tier. They're awesome. And all of the people involved with them. It's a non-theistic religion. They do not believe in a literal Satan. They follow Satan as a literary character, basically. And the interpretation of the Bible that Satan actually won the war between God and Satan and then had them write the Bible as though he was the good guy, even though he very clearly wasn't, seems to make a lot more sense than God is the good guy and had himself written the way that he was written in the Bible. Anyway, the point is, people like this need help, and it's so deeply disturbing, where we're headed with Pete Hegseth and everything, and Reformation Red Pill, Joshua Haymes. These people are insane. Tell me what you think in the comments.